This is 6 Minutes, the Seriously International Daily Newscast. It's Tuesday, February 4th, and I'm Jacob Shropshire.
And I'm Emma Albright. Residents of Shanghai are ending their day, while residents of Chicago are just starting it. In Casablanca and here in the Worldcrunch newsroom in Paris, it's just after midday. These are the latest headlines. China announces retaliatory tariffs on U.S. goods. Rwanda-backed rebels announce a unilateral ceasefire in the Democratic Republic of Congo. And our daily quiz question comes to us on the way to the moon. Our top story today is China's response to U.S. President Donald Trump's 10% tariffs levied on imports from the country. China imposed tariffs on some U.S. imports in response to the tariffs which go into effect today. This comes as Trump agreed with Mexico and Canada to put the new tariffs on the two U.S. neighbors on hold for 30 days.
Rwanda-backed forces in the Democratic Republic of Congo have announced they will pause their advance across the east of the country. The M23 rebel coalition announced it would implement a unilateral ceasefire over humanitarian concerns starting today. The group, which is backed by Rwanda, seized the main eastern city of Goma last week, with the UN saying at least 900 people were killed and hundreds of thousands were displaced. Syria's transitional president Ahmed al-Shara and Turkish President Tayyip Recep Erdogan are expected to discuss a joint defense pact in Ankara on Tuesday. The pact would include establishing Turkish air bases in Syria and training for Syria's new army. Turkey has long supported al-Shara-led opposition, which overthrew the Assad regime 2 months ago.
Now let's take a closer look at what the international press is covering. Mexican Daily Synthesis headlined with praise from Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum for negotiating a 30-day pause on the 25% tariffs put forward by Donald Trump. The agreement came with a commitment by Mexico to send 10,000 troops to the shared border to stop the flow of drugs and unlawful migration.
Independent Russian daily The Moscow Times wrote yesterday about the revival of Intervision, a Soviet-era response to the Eurovision Song Competition. The decree re-establishing the contest was signed by Vladimir Putin on Monday, and officials have said roughly 20 countries have confirmed their participation so far. Russia was banned from Eurovision in 2022 after the invasion of Ukraine began.
An Athens-based daily Catamarini led today with photos of the aftermath of earthquakes on the island of Santorini in Greece. Quakes have been registered every few minutes in the sea between volcanic islands, prompting authorities to shut down schools until Friday. We have a piece from Egypt-based Al Manassa on the connection between the United Arab Emirates and the Sudanese civil war. Jacob, what's the story about?
Hassam Othman Mahjoub's op-ed in Al Manassa urges governments to call out the UAE and other foreign powers in promoting wars like these. Foreign intervention has fueled Sudan's devastating civil war, with multiple countries supporting the different warring parties. The UAE, however, stands out. Its support has been fundamental to the notorious paramilitary Rapid Support Forces, or RSF, which has been fighting against the Sudanese military since April 2023. Sudan has become a key axis in the UAE's strategy in Africa and the Middle East, which aims to achieve political and economic dominance while curbing the democratic ambitions of the region. Over the past decades, the UAE has invested about $60 billion in Africa, making it the fourth largest foreign direct investor on the continent. Mahjoub says that the Western governments, particularly the new U.S. administration, should openly condemn the UAE's role in destabilizing Sudan. The UAE is sensitive to its international image and promotes itself as a progressive and neutral player in the Middle East. Exposing its deep involvement in Sudan's civil war will undermine this narrative and disrupt its bias towards the RSF.
We have a piece from Lebanon-based Daily Daraj about the role of children's support NGOs in Syria. The piece talks about the revelations that these NGOs had been potentially aiding the Syrian government with concealing children of war and even altering their official documents. The story echoes similar histories in Russia and Canada.
And finally, there's a piece from science magazine Undark on how dried microbes, bacteria, and fungi might just be the future of food. Making sure it is safe is certainly the challenge, but the upside is enormous, with a basically limitless form of protein that could be valuable to people where traditional agriculture isn't as simple.
We're wrapping things up today with our daily news quiz question, which comes to us from China's space program. Why is China planning on sending a flying robot to the moon's far side? Is it A, to search for water, B, to take HD aerial photos, C, to begin construction on the Great Lunar Wall, or D, to dig for titanium? The correct answer is A. China plans to send a flying robot to the far side of the moon next year to search for the frozen water that could hold the key to future lunar exploration. The robotic flying detector will be deployed to the lunar South Pole as part of China's Chang'e 7 mission, which aims to bring the country closer to landing astronauts on the moon within 5 years.
That's the latest from around the world. If you liked this podcast, we'd really appreciate it if you could help us out with a follow, a share, and a 5-star rating on your preferred podcasting platform. For more of the best of the international press delivered exclusively in English every day, visit us at worldcrunch.com. We'll see you here tomorrow. À demain.